You know how it is when you're scrolling online late at night, you fall down these rabbit holes. You start looking at one thing, and suddenly you're deep into theories about secret bases hidden miles beneath our feet. It's a fun idea for sure, but what do we actually know about what's going on down there? Okay, let's get into it.
So check this out. This is from a Reddit thread. A user posts these satellite images of some mystery facility way out in the Alaskan wilderness. You can see there are no roads leading to it, just these weird structures. I mean, it's the perfect setup for a good conspiracy theory, right? Could this be a deep underground military base?
But then, just as quickly, reality comes crashing in. Someone else chimes in and points out that, yeah, it's a military site, but it's a mock air base used for bombing practice. Those tunnel entrances, they're just hardened aircraft shelters. So, mystery solved. But it does raise a much more interesting question.
I mean, if we can get this worked up over something that's sitting right there on Google Maps, what does that say about our understanding of the true depths of our planet? How far down have we really gone?
Well, the main tool we have for exploring what's down there is called scientific drilling. The best way to think about it is like giving the planet a biopsy. We use these absolutely massive drills to pull up long cylinders of rock and fluid, giving us a direct physical sample of the Earth's guts.
So, what's the record? What's our high score? The deepest humanity has ever drilled is the Kola Superdeep Borehole in Russia. It reached a mind-boggling 12,262 meters. That's over 7.6 miles straight down. It's an incredible achievement. But how deep is that really, in the grand scheme of things?
And this is where the scale of our planet just smacks you in the face. That 7.6-mile deep hole, our greatest achievement in drilling, is barely a scratch. It's only about a third of the way through the crust and a minuscule 0.2% of the total distance to the center of the Earth. We've literally just pricked the skin of the apple.
All right, so if we can't drill our way there, how in the world do we know what's underneath us? Well, scientists have pieced together an amazingly detailed picture. So let's start peeling back those layers and take a trip down ourselves.
The simplest way to wrap your head around Earth's basic structure is the old hard-boiled egg analogy. You've got that super thin, brittle shell on the outside. That's the crust we live on. Then you have the thick, hefty egg white. That's the mantle. And right in the middle, you've got the super dense yolk, the core. Of course, it's a little more complicated than an egg. The way scientists really map the interior is brilliant. They act like planetary doctors, using the seismic waves from earthquakes like a planetary-sized ultrasound. By tracking how those waves speed up, slow down, and bounce off different materials, they can map out a really detailed and dynamic interior.
And here's the breakdown. The key thing is that these layers are totally different. We've got the thin, solid crust we live on. Below that, the massive mantle, which is solid rock but can actually flow like super thick honey over millions of years. Then you hit the core, and it's split in two. A churning, liquid outer core made of iron and nickel, and a solid inner core of the same stuff, squeezed into a solid ball by unbelievable pressure. And it's at these boundaries where things get really, really weird. And the first of these secrets is just, well, it's a mind bender. It turns out scientists have found evidence for a gigantic reservoir of water, not in our oceans, but deep inside the Earth's mantle. And when I say gigantic, I mean it. This hidden water source is estimated to hold three times more water than all of the world's oceans on the surface combined. Just think about that. All the water in the Pacific, the Atlantic, every ocean, times 3. So where is it all? Now, you're probably picturing a huge, sloshing cavern of water down there, but it's not like that at all. The water is actually trapped inside the molecular structure of a special blue mineral called ringwoodite. This rock only forms under the crushing pressures deep in the mantle, and it basically acts like a sponge, locking water molecules right into its crystal lattice. It's an ocean locked in a stone.
A hidden ocean is one thing, but that might not even be the strangest secret hiding in the mantle. Get this. Some new research suggests that Earth is haunted by the ghost of an ancient planet, a ghost that helped create our very own moon. The main theory for how the moon was born is called the giant impact hypothesis. The idea is that way back, about 4.5 billion years ago, a planet roughly the size of Mars, which scientists have named Theia, slammed into the young Earth. The explosion of debris eventually came together to form the moon. For a long time, the assumption was that Theia was basically vaporized in the collision. But a new theory, backed by some heavy-duty simulations, suggests something wild happened. Instead of mixing in, huge, dense chunks of Thea's mantle plunged deep into our own planet, sinking all the way down until they came to rest on top of Earth's core. And they're still there today, 2 continent-sized blobs of what is essentially alien rock.
So we've got a hidden ocean and a buried planet. The deep Earth is an incredible place, but it's not just some static museum of ancient secrets. No, it's an active, changing, dynamic environment. And it seems our planet's heart is beating on a timescale that we never thought was possible.
Back in 2002, a pair of satellites called GRACE started mapping Earth's gravity with insane precision. Then, for a couple of years between 2006 and 2008, they saw a weird blip, a gravitational anomaly that nothing on the surface could explain. It took years of analysis, but they finally traced it. 2,900 kilometers down, right at the boundary between the core and the mantle. It seems there was a rapid, massive shift of material down there, a huge geologic event that happened over just a few years, not a few million.
A hidden ocean, a buried planet, a pulsing core. This is all fascinating stuff, but you might be asking, so what? Does any of this have a real impact on our lives up here? And the answer is absolutely yes.
If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that our planet is not a cold, dead ball of rock. It's a living, breathing, dynamic heat engine. The core is as hot as the surface of the sun, and all that heat drives constant motion in the mantle and the core, and that motion shapes everything we see on the surface.
And that brings us to the most important consequence of all. All that churning liquid iron in the outer core acts like a giant dynamo, and it generates Earth's magnetic field. This field stretches way out into space, creating a protective bubble around us that shields all life from deadly solar winds and cosmic radiation. Without the active, dynamic core, there's no magnetic field. And without that shield, there's no us. It's as simple as that.
So we started this journey with a debunked conspiracy theory on the surface, and we ended thousands of kilometers down, at the very forces that make life possible. It just goes to show you, we may have mapped all the continents, but we are just barely beginning to understand the ground we're standing on. So the real question isn't whether there are secrets down there, it's what incredible discoveries are we going to make next.